All right, so in this video, we're going to be taking a look at this function, so tangent of 3x squared minus 2 to the fourth, and we're going to be taking the derivative of this, and then taking a look at the two solutions that we were given, both with errors in them, so we're going to see if we can identify those errors. But the first thing we're going to do is take the derivative. So we're going to say f of x, right, this is our function, f of x equals tangent, and I'm actually going to rewrite this as tangent of 3x squared minus 2. And I'm going to put the fourth power outside, like this. Again, that means the same thing, right? Tangent with the 4 right behind it is the same thing as to the fourth power of the whole function. So we can rewrite it like this, and that kind of makes it a little bit easier to see that we have an inside function, right? So tangent of 3x squared minus 2, and then we also have an outside function to the fourth power. So I know we're going to need to use the chain rule here once we start taking the derivative. So we're going to say f prime of x, so now we're going to start taking the derivative, equals the derivative of the outside, which is my fourth power here. So again, anything to the fourth power, we're just going to use the power rule. So we can bring 4 down out front, recopy the inside, right, because we're only taking the derivative of the outside. So 4 times tangent of 3x squared minus 2, and the power rule says to subtract the original exponent by 1. So that gives us to the third power. So that's the first part of the chain rule. The second part says now take the derivative of the inside, or this one I have highlighted in yellow. So the derivative of tangent 3x squared minus 2. So the derivative of tangent tells me, right, we know that that's secant squared of 3x squared minus 2. But now you want to be careful. You don't want to just stop here, right? Because, again, we're taking the derivative still of this blue part, right? Secant squared of 3x squared minus 2, that's the derivative that we're talking about now. We have an outside function, so secant squared, but we also have another inside function, 3x squared minus 2. So we actually have to use the power rule again. So again, secant squared of 3x squared minus 2 is the derivative of the original function, right? But this derivative of the inside function is not complete yet because we have another inside function within it. So we need to take a look and take the derivative of this one, of 3x squared minus 2, which is going to just be 6x, right? 3x squared, you bring the 2 down, so 2 times 3 times x, so 6x, just with the power rule. And then minus 2 is just a constant, so that's going to go away. So times 6x. So this is what the derivative actually looks like, actually taken. The final thing we want to do is just clean this up, right? We have some things that we can combine. So we're going to say f prime of x equals, I'm looking at this 4 out front and the 6x. So I can make this 24x times tangent, and I'm going to bring the third power back here, times 3x squared minus 2, times this middle term, so secant squared of 3x squared minus 2. And we've actually taken the derivative of the original function. So this would be your final answer. So our last thing that we want to do in this video is just take a look at the two solutions that we were given and to see what mistakes that they made. So I'm actually just going to look at solution 2 first. You'll see why it kind of makes a little bit more sense. So they followed along. So 4 times tangent of 3x squared minus 2 to the third. Same as this. So they got that part. They even got the secant squared, right? So secant squared of 3x squared minus 2. They got that part. They just forgot to take the derivative of this inside function again, right? They didn't take the derivative, the final 6x. They didn't calculate that. So you just have to recognize, right, that this secant squared of 3x squared minus 2, that's the derivative you're talking about of the original inside function, right? There's actually a second inside function within that. So you'd have to take the derivative of that 6x. So this is what they're missing. And with solution 1, the only thing was they actually didn't do it correctly as a power rule. They actually just took the derivative the first time around and didn't do the second chain rule, right? See how in here we did secant squared of 3x squared minus 2 times the 6x. They basically just took the derivative all in one step, which you wouldn't want to do. All right, so hopefully this was a good example of a triple chain rule example, and then some solutions that where people made mistakes. So hopefully this helps you see it better.